Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, the Hut, and welcome back to the Baseball Hut. Hope you like this video and hit that subscribe button. Now, normally I don't do these kind of videos on this channel. I usually leave this for the Baseball 2, but I want to do this for you as a Thanksgiving gift, if you would. If you like lists, you're going to love this video. And the list is basically every player that could be available this offseason. What players the Mets are going to sign, what players who are going to be traded, what players are going to be, and it doesn't matter which team. This is sort of a general video, which is a video I don't normally do for this channel, but I just want to do something a little different for here. There'll be plenty of content on this channel. I expect the Mets to be making moves fairly soon. Obviously, they're doing a lot of little moves right now. And they're waiting on Juan Soto. But we're going to start at Juan Soto. Every time a player signs or gets traded, they'll get the bell. And this will go on until we get to the offseason. And this will be this wonderful bell. I actually have a bell. It says Mets on it. You'll get to see. You'll get to see and hear. What a wonderful setup I got here. Like going to a hotel. But anyway. And also talk about who got qualifying offers and stuff like that. Let's start at Juan Soto. He has plenty of suitors. We have 5 that we know of. New York Mets, New York Yankees, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays. I had other teams on here, but obviously they've kind of eliminated themselves due to the fact they've not made any offers. So these teams are off the list. It's really down to 5 teams. Now, there could be a mystery team. This got Boris. If they're not happy with the offers they get for Soto, there could be a team that we don't know about. But I believe that these 5 teams are there. So, but where is he going to sign? I think he's going to sign with the Mets. I think it's a 55% chance he'll sign with the Mets. It went down because the Dodgers are in on it. And it's going to come down to the Mets and the Yankees. The Yankees upgraded their offer, supposedly. So the Yankees have a 40% chance to sign him, and the Dodgers have 5% chance. So we'll see what happens there. He has a qualifying offer on him, by the way. Next up, Corbin Burnes, one of the big pitchers. He's going to get an interesting contract on him. For him, one of the teams that was in on him is out, as far as I can tell, because Blake Snell has signed. He's got a qualifying offer. Like I said, the Mets will cross out the Dodgers. I don't think the Dodgers are going to be signing him now. The New York Yankees, the Phillies, the Boston Red Sox, the Cubs, and the Baltimore Orioles. Where is he going to sign? I say, and this could change. I've done this on the other channel. I've sort of changed it. I will say the Boston Red Sox. I could be wrong. I could change it. Next up, Pete Alonso. Now, people might not like this part. I don't like it myself. But I've heard very little with Pete. But I believe that a team I've heard quite a bit, believe it or not, the Nationals. They are getting close to contending again, and they can use a big bat in their lineup. That is a team I think will sign him. I think they'll give him a lot of money, too. So I'm not too happy about that. But we'll see. They bring him back. That's great. And his free agency, in my opinion, is separate from Soto. If Pete gets a contract, goes back to the Mets, say, can you match it? They say no, he'll sign with that other team. That's how I look at it. He's got a qualifying offer. Juan Burnes has a qualifying offer. I think I said that a couple times. Adams Bregman. Where's he going to sign? I've heard the Yankees, the Giants, the Mets, going back to Houston, Seattle, Toronto, Washington, and the Phillies. Where's he going to sign? I think he's going to resign with Houston. I think he's going to go back there. I think. I know that some people in New York, the Yankee fan media, is not too happy. They don't want him with the Yankees. They say, oh, I saw that on SNY the other day. They didn't really care for him. Who cares? This guy's a winner. He's a gamer, that guy. Well, he damns. Where is he going to go? Well, I was saying the Dodgers, but I'm not thinking that way so far now. He said he's willing to move it off a shortstop, but he's not going to get the money that he was getting with another team. He's a shortstop. So where's he going to go? Well, since the Mets moved on from Alonso, I will say right now that the Mets will sign him. Obviously, they can move Vientos to first. He's known as a good clubhouse guy. He played for Mets general manager, president of baseball operations, David Stearns. He's going to go to the Mets. I could be wrong. These are just predictions. I'm not Nostradamus. Even Nostradamus got a lot of stuff wrong. Shane Bieber. I put the Mets, the Yankees, and the Dodgers down. I'm not too sure about that. I don't know where he's going to sign. Jack Flaherty. I was thinking that he was going to go back to the Dodgers, but doesn't look like it since they signed Blake Snell. But what I have here is the Mets, the Angels. See him going with the Angels. The Yankees and Detroit. So I have to pick one. I will say he will sign with the Angels. The Angels have been very active. They've been one of the few teams that have been very, very active so far. And one of the big names signed, Blake Snell, signed with the Dodgers on a very strange and deferred contract. And we will see how that transpires over the years. The belief is that at the end of these deferments, the ownership that owns the Dodgers currently will be moving on. They will sell the team. But right now, Blake Snell signed with the Dodgers. He's such a goofball, that guy. Hi-Sung Kim. I've heard the Dodgers, the Mets. I haven't heard the Mets. I put the Mets down just to hell of it. Seattle, the Angels, the White Sox, Houston, San Diego, and Detroit. Where's he going to sign? I say he signs with the Houston Astros. Or maybe, no, let me look at it again. I think he'll resign with the Padres. But that Anthony Santander, we're going to get his name right. He's got a qualifying offer. Where's he going to sign? I say he goes to the Kansas City Royals. I got a bunch of teams on here. The Mets, the Cubs, Seattle, Houston, Milwaukee, Toronto, San Francisco, Philly, and the Yankees. It's not Kansas City, it'll probably be the Phillies. Matt Chapman signed with the Giants during the season. I have the left-handed pitching, Will Smith. A whole bunch of teams are in on him. Max Kepler, I can see the Mets getting him. He's a trade candidate, but only if they don't sign Soto. I don't expect Starlin Marte to be here, folks. Okay? One way or the other. Ross Stripling, who knows? Justin Turner, him going back to Seattle. Max Scherzer, believe it or not, is still out there. I've heard the Washington Nationals going back there. Max Fried, he's got a qualifying offer. Santander, I mentioned he's got a qualifying offer. Max Fried, I've heard the Mets, the Cubs, the Dodgers, the Yankees, Boston, Baltimore, and Toronto. If I were the Mets, stay away from him. Only because he's got so many injuries and he's a Brave, and he'll probably pitch terribly for the Mets. And I don't see David Stern signing him. So I think that where he'll go, that's a tough. I would say Boston. See Boston signing him. Carlos Estevez. Well, he's a closer. I've heard the Phillies, the Rangers, Oakland, Toronto, the Yankees, and the Cubs. I could see him staying with the Phillies. Or with the Yankees. So it's like a 50-50 toss-up between those two. Paul Goldschmidt. I see Milwaukee, Arizona, the Cubs, the Yankees, the Mets, and Houston. I believe he will go back to Arizona. Finish his career there. Kyle Hendricks. Signed with the Angels. Aroldis Chapman. A lot of teams going to be in on him. He still throws hard. He's left-handed. Christian Walker has a qualifying offer. I've heard the Mets, the Yankees, the Cubs, Milwaukee, Detroit, Baltimore, Houston, Seattle, and San Francisco. He's got a ton of teams on him. Where's he going to sign? It's a good one. I probably different in the last video I did about this. I say he'll sign with the Orioles. They're moving in the fences again. So after they push them back, they're moving back in. So I see that. I can see him go to Baltimore. Walker Buehler. He's got so many teams on him. I would cross out the Dodgers. I had the Dodgers on him. They're off. The Mets, the Yankees, the Cubs, Cleveland, Detroit, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Washington, San Francisco, Baltimore, Milwaukee, and believe it or not, the Pirates. Where's Walker Buehler going? I could see him taking a one-year deal and building up his value even more. I could see David Stern signing him and getting a year out of him, and then he gets his value up, and then move on to somebody else that wants to have a big year. I could see him doing that. I can see both sides doing that. Next up, Mike Conforto. Seattle, Milwaukee, the Rangers, Pittsburgh, Toronto, Kansas City, Milwaukee, and the Minnesota Twins. I can see him going to Seattle. They need offense, and he's a local boy. Tyler O'Neill. The Mets only if they don't sign Soto. Baltimore, San Francisco, Pittsburgh, the Dodgers, and Toronto. Where's he going to go? I say Toronto. Justin Wilson, sign with the Reds. Jackson Profar, there's two teams I see. Jackson Profar, I see two teams on him. San Diego and Kansas City. He should re-sign with the Padres. There's no pressure there. He's played great there. Stay there. He'd be a fool to go anywhere else. Sean Manaea's got a qualifying offer. I see the Mets, the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Rangers, Boston, Chicago, Detroit, Houston, Toronto, and Baltimore. I see him either going to the Mets or Boston, but for this video, I'll say he'll go to the Mets because I want him back. Luis Severino, the Mets, the Nationals, the Tigers, the Yankees, and Kansas City. I see him going to Kansas City. Those two players have qualifying offers. And Luis Severino is a good example that you could do something similar with him that the Mets could do with Walker Buehler. And Walker Buehler's better than Severino. Severino had a good year, but he's not as good as Walker Buehler. And Walker Buehler, I would mention, very inconsistent, obviously, in the postseason. A lot like Jack Flaherty. Jose Quintana, the Rangers, the Reds, the Chicago White Sox, Detroit, Milwaukee, St. Louis. Where can he go? I can see him going anywhere. I can see him going back to White Sox. He starts winning the White Sox. Going back to St. Louis. They look like they're trying to retool. Whereas they're trying to move Nolan Arenado. We'll talk about him at the end of this video. Milwaukee. I see him going to Milwaukee. We'll say Milwaukee. Luis Castillo. Two teams I could see going in on him are the Mets and the Cubs. I would like to have him on the Mets because one, I know what I'm getting out of him. He's an ace. He's been an ace for a long time. His contract is not crazy. I know exactly what I'm going to have to spend on him. It's not going to be crazy like one of these free agent guys, and he's been very durable. I would bring him in. That's what I would do. Teoscar Hernandez. He's got a qualifying offer. Now with Castillo, you'd have to give up prospects. I'd rather bring him in, give up less of a prospect haul to Seattle than move a lot more of my younger players. I can move Jeff McNeil in this deal and not have to worry about the money, and I can play my younger guys. And if you have Adames here and you don't have Pete Alonso here, you can do all kinds of stuff at second base. All right, where were we? Hernandez. The Mets, Cincinnati, the Dodgers, the Royals, San Francisco, Boston, Atlanta, San Diego, Baltimore. Where's he going to go? I say he's going to go to a weird place. He's got a qualifying offer, Cincinnati, because they signed Terry Francona to be their manager, and he wants to win, and I can see that happen, certainly. Gleyber Torres. I see Seattle, Detroit. I've heard the Yankees, believe it or not, Toronto. Where's he going to sign? I see him going to Seattle. He's improving over what they have. He's not much better, but he's a bit of a weird guy. He's not a winning player. Nathan Eovaldi. We heard him today. I forgot to write down the new teams, but I put the Mets, the Yankees, Baltimore, San Francisco, the Rangers, Texas Rangers, Atlanta, and the Phillies. Where's he going to go? I think he'll go to the Phillies right now. Michael Wacha, he re-signed with the Royals. Gotta write that down. So he signed Tanner Scott. He's got a lot of teams on him, but he's going to be a closer. He wants to be a closer. Boston, Toronto. I put the Mets for the moment. Phillies. See him going to the Phillies. Yankees, Washington, the Dodgers, and Baltimore. I see him going to the Yankees. Travis Darnell, signed with the Angels. Yusei Kikuchi, signed with the Angels. Jeff Hoffman, I've seen Toronto, the Angels. I've heard the Mets a little bit. Boston, Oakland, and the Yankees. Clay Holmes wants to be a closer. I don't think he'll be with the Mets, but the Mets, Baltimore, Philadelphia, Boston, Kansas City, and Arizona. I see him going to Baltimore. Matthew Boyd, Cleveland, St. Louis, the Mets, and the A's. Jock Peterson, the Mets, Toronto. I don't say him with the Mets in case they don't sign Soto. Toronto, Arizona, and Cleveland. Jesse Winker. Sentimentality for the Met fans. I say he resigns with the Mets. He could go anywhere. I don't know what the Mets' plans are for the fifth outfielder at this point. A lot will depend on, obviously, with this whole situation with Soto, so who knows? His role's up in the air. There's no rush to sign him, to be honest with you. Nick Pivetta has a qualifying offer for Boston and Baltimore. Resigning with Boston. The Mets. I put the Mets for the hell of it. Nick Martinez had a qualifying offer. Resigned with the Reds. AJ Minter, the Mets, he's a lefty reliever. The Mets, the Cubs, the Dodgers, and the Phillies. Tomoyuki Sugano. Heard a lot of teams don't know him, but some of the teams have heard Texas, the Angels. Heard the Angels very prominently with him. Milwaukee, and the Mets. Roki Suzuki, which we won't hear much about until January 15th, because he'll be part of this international amateur group, and he's under 27 years old, 28 years old. I've heard the Mets, the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Phillies, the Padres, the Giants, Seattle, Toronto, and the Angels. Keep an eye on the Angels, because they have that history of having signed Ohtani, so they know how to accommodate a star player. But obviously the Dodgers are in it, but we've heard the Dodgers not so much, and the Padres. Hopefully I get this name right. And he's a lefty from Japan. Shunozuki Ogasawara. Let me say this again. Shinozuki Ogasawara. I've heard Milwaukee, San Diego, the Mets, Cleveland, and the A's. Alec Bohm, believe it or not, is going to get moved. I've heard St. Louis with him. Well, we'll see. He might not be a third baseman moving forward. Garrett Crochet, who was on one of the worst teams in baseball history. I've heard the Red Sox, Baltimore, the Dodgers, and the Mets. He's going to get traded. Where he's going to get traded to? Right now I'm hearing the Mets, but who knows? Alec Bohm, I don't know what team would want to trade for him. He's got so much baggage there. In terms of just being I don't know. Carlos Santana. I've seen the Yankees. I think the Yankees would be very happy to sign him. That would go. Imagine that. They don't sign Juan Soto. They sign Carlos Santana. That would not go well. Harrison Bader, I've heard Tampa Bay. Alex Verdugo, I've heard Texas. JD Martinez, I've heard Minnesota. Kenley Jansen, I put a couple teams down. He's a closer. Pittsburgh, he's right now he's still serviceable. He's still very good. Pittsburgh and Atlanta. Blake Trinan, the Dodgers. Danny Columbi, Arizona Diamondbacks. Jordan Montgomery, I would take a shot on him. I got the Mets and the Yankees. Christian Vasquez, he's a free. Yandy Diaz, he's up for trade. For a lot of him. Keep an eye on him. He can go to any team. Bo Bichette, his name's always swirling around. Ryan McMahon, the Mets, the Phillies, and the Yankees. There's so many players that are going to be moved, and so many players got basically non-tendered. I'll get to the non-tenders at the end of this video. Luis Robert Jr., I'll cross out the Mets because they made that trade for Jose Siri, so they're off. Nick Castellanos, Taylor Ward, Nolan Arenado. I've heard the Phillies, the Yankees, the Mets, and the Giants. And he could be moved to first base. He'd be better off staying and playing third. He's still a great third baseman. Even though his offense is really taking a decline. Wilson Contreras. Wilson, I'm sorry. He could go to any team. He's a great catcher, great hitter. I don't have a team connected to him, but he's going to get moved, I think. Sonny Gray, another guy with the Cardinals, he's going to get moved. Minnesota, the Giants, the Dodgers, the Cubs. I put the Mets for the hell of it. I don't think the Mets will do that. Brent Honeywell, non-tendered. I think some team will pick. He's a good reliever. Somebody will pick him up. He's got a good arm now. Austin Hayes was with the Orioles. Played terrible with the Phillies. They got rid of him. Kyle Finnegan, the biggest surprise on this non-tender list. Any team could pick him up, but he's going to want to close. Cal Quantrill, keep an eye on him. Where he could go. Brendan Rodgers, good second baseman. Not a great second baseman. Colin Poche, if I'm saying his name right. Jacob Webb, JT Charges, and Jordan Romano. Very interesting relievers and very interesting pitchers at the end of this list. But this is kind of what I have here. And hopefully you like this video. It's a little bit different than what I normally do with the Baseball Hut. I usually talk about the Mets, and all about the Mets and nothing else. But this is sort of a overall thing, something for you to chew on while you're chewing on your turkeys and your cranberries and your cake and pie and, and mashed potatoes, But I want to thank you for coming by. Again, happy Thanksgiving. Please subscribe to the Baseball Hut, the best podcast online. And thank you for watching. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.